Hi there. If you're in any business leadership position, at one point you're going to have to hire IT staff. Whether you hire IT staff in the past or you're going to hire IT staff in the future, in this video, I'm going to walk you through what it takes to hire the right skills, talent on your team. You know, what it costs you to hire the right person, how to avoid a lot of blind spots when you're hiring a right person, how do you validate some of the skill set when you're going through your hiring process, and also how much it costs you and in terms of your time and also resources as well to get the right person, and how do you train the person as well when you hire somebody in your IT department. So I happen to hire a lot of IT staff on ongoing basis, so I'm going to share my experience and walk you through what it takes to hire the right skilled talent or right person on your team so you can move your business in the right direction. So let's start with what employment type companies hire IT staff for. So what I see, generally speaking, that the employees are fall into 3-4 different categories that employers hire them. First of all is the contractors, and the second one is a consultant, third one is an employee, and the fourth one is a dual role. So those are 4 general categories when employers hire people, they hire in one of those categories. So let me break it down. The first one is the contractors. So people you're hiring on a contract basis, these people they move company to company. They definitely they go project to project. Their skill set is that they have a lot of exposure, hands-on experience with the companies, but they move from project to project or company to company. They're given a one specific task, what needs to be done. They will finish the project and they move on to the different project and the different companies. So those are your contracts. Those are short-term contracts, generally speaking, that companies hire for. And the second one is a consultant. They've worked in a variety of many different industries. They have a variety of different experience. They bring on a lot of knowledge to your business as well. And you don't need to tell them what needs to be done. They will tell you what needs to be done. So they have the exposure, they have the experience. Instead of you figuring out what needs to be done, they are very good at figuring out for your business what needs to be done. But where you see a little bit shortage on is a hands-on skill set. They're very good at writing documents, walking you through what needs to be done, but sometimes consultants don't get involved a lot of hands-on experience. So you may find some of the shortage there, that hands-on experience that to complete the project and moving on. But they're very good at telling you what needs to be done and setting up your roadmap. It's your strategy and your direction, what needs to be done. And a third one is employee. You hire, definitely you have to tell them what needs to be done. But they stay with you on whatever the employment term is, whether it's a full-time employee, part-time employees, or whatever the term is. They'll stay with you, and business owners need to tell them what needs to be done. You manage them, and they'll deliver the work for you. The one other role I want to talk about is the dual role. A lot of businesses I see that they do that around the IT department is, let's say they have a 70% IT work and they have a 40% marketing work. So they will say, okay, I'm going to hire somebody for 70% IT work and the 30% marketing. So they have a dual role. They move business forward in half of their capacity, and the other half they do IT stuff. So that's another role that I see a lot of business leaders hire IT staff for. So those are usually 4 categories. Contractors, where companies have to tell them what needs to be done. They complete the work. They may not be able to provide a lot of consulting, but they're very good at completing the projects and moving on to the next project. And then there's the consultants, employees, then dual role employees. So the reason I mentioned those 4 is for you to just keep in mind when you're hiring. Just make sure you're hiring the right person for the right a job. So if you have a work that you want just somebody to finish the project and move on, then definitely contractor makes more sense. If you need some sort of advice or some sort of strategy roadmap, then consultants make sense. So for you to be mindful, what role are you hiring for? Make sure that the workload you have in front of you, it fills one of those categories when you're hiring people. So now let's talk about the cost of hiring employee. What should you hire employee for? What should be the number you should plan for? On my website, I had a blog written on this a few months back. I'm going to include a link below the video as well. If you read the blog, you will see a lot of research resources there that break down the cost by numbers. A lot of studies in the US, some in Canada. You will see that a lot of numbers there broke down, but backed by a lot of research, and you can see all the details. But here I'm gonna just highlight a couple of numbers, something you need to keep in mind when you're hiring an employee. So whatever role you're hiring for, whether it's application developer or network analyst or systems analyst or help desk, whatever the role you're hiring, beside the salary, what else you need to keep in mind? That's what I'm going to walk you through. So first thing you need to keep in mind is cost of employee turnover. If you look at a lot of research, it's about 63K every time you have a turnover in IT department. So you need to keep in mind that when you're hiring it, make sure you validate the skill set, make sure you validate is the right person for the job, because the cost of hiring, cost of turnover IT staff is about 63K based on all the research I saw, and I'm going to include a link to that research on the blog as well, so you can go see where the data is coming from. And the second thing is overtime plus. A lot of IT staff, they have to work on the weekends, they work sometimes longer hours. So how much is overtime you should plan for? About 2,800 per year. So that's a number shared from research on an average, that about 3,000 you want to prepare just for the overtime for every time you hire IT staff. And then the mistakes. How much the mistakes cost you if you don't validate skill set or you hired the wrong person. So the cost, from a variety of different research, it's about 170,000. So that's a big cost compared to, just hiring staff. So just a number they put together simply, cost of, hiring employees is one thing, but not hiring the right person. If there's mistakes are made in IT department, the cost is, but generally speaking, on average, is about 170,000. And I'm going to include a link to the research report below the video as well. And then other items you need to keep in mind that your time to manage this employee. How much time this employee would take from you to manage that staff? Is this employee going to take so much time from you for coaching, providing the leadership, providing the expectation or requirements, all that stuff ongoing basis, or is it going to be very low time? Because your time is a lot more important. So definitely it's a higher value item. Then other item is how much time is how about training and hiring this person? Going through all the whole process. How are you going to train this person? How much is going to cost your time or your other staff time? How long is the learning curve in a business? If you don't have everything documented, definitely there's going to be longer learning curve for the staff to learn everything by trial and error, because that's going to take much longer for this person to learn your business, how you run a business, how you run an IT. So they have to learn all that stuff. So there's definitely a cost of that time as well. And then running IT process. If there's a turnover, you have to go through the same process again. How much is going to cost you, and how you going to replace the talent as well if something happens. So those are the numbers. I'm going to include a link below the video. But if you look at the number, if you're hiring somebody on a 67K a yearly salary, the cost of all the other items I just mentioned, if you calculate all those items based on the research I included in this video, employee will cost you about $268, $269 per year. So you want to have a 3 times more, added to the base salary for the staff. That's how much you should plan for. That's how much it will cost you to hire one staff in IT department. So those are the few things. And now I want to talk about some of the common mistakes I saw when hiring IT staff. So one of the mistakes I saw that business owners hiring IT staff on the wrong role. So if you're looking for contractors, you want somebody to come and just do the project and move on, and then hiring consultant for that instead of contractors. So, or other way around, hiring contractor for the consulting position, right? So you need to be mindful of that. I see a lot of mistakes in the area. Contractors are somebody you have to tell them what needs to be done. Consultants are somebody who will tell you what needs to be done, right? So you just have to be mindful who you're hiring. If you already know what needs to be done and you think you have nailed down all the business requirements, hire contractors, tell them what needs to be done, ABC, and they will get the work done. But if you need to figure things out along the way, then definitely consultant makes more sense. So just make sure that who you're hiring, that before you make a decision. And the employees are same as contractors. So employees, you have to tell them what needs to be done. You have to provide business requirement. You have to manage them ongoing basis. Also, you need to manage expectation. You have to provide that leadership. Business changes all the time, right? As business changes, IT requirements changes as well. So you gotta translate those requirements to IT requirements and give those expectations to IT staff so they can perform on those requirements. So you have to spend time with IT staff to give them those business requirements so they can move the business forward. So those are the very common mistakes I see in IT department. And the last one I want to mention is a dual role. A lot of companies, I know they hire for dual role. They don't have 100% work in front of them, so they simply say, well, we have a 60% work. We're gonna hire somebody from IT for 60%, and 40% we're gonna use their time on somewhere else. So here's my experience on this. If you're going to hire IT professional staff, they're top of their game, and you give them 60% IT staff, they're not gonna be happy doing the 40% work somewhere else. It's a short time. It's whether they're not gonna be happy, you're not gonna happy. Longer run, it's not gonna work out. But you may find somebody who wants to work. So what happens in that case is you find somebody with a very mediocre IT skill set, and they're willing to do some other work as well. You just need to be mindful of that. You may find some entry-level IT staff who will be happy to do other 40% marketing work. But if you're looking for top talent, like we look for at Encompass, you're not gonna find somebody with the top skill set, and they're gonna be okay with doing 40% some other work beside 60% IT staff. But I've seen a lot of mistakes in that area as well. Business leaders hiring for the right attentions, they're hiring for the right goals, but end up just not working out simply because the expectation is not the same as what they alluded to. So what can you do to avoid all these mistakes I just mentioned, or some of those scenarios I just mentioned? So the first thing we do at Encompass as well, I will recommend that you do the same, that before you make a decision, before you hire somebody, you want to document all the workload around IT department. What's on a daily basis, how many tasks are required, how much work is required on a weekly basis, how much work is required monthly basis. So make a list of all the work in your business that require IT staff to do. Once you have the list, you can easily assess that, is this going to take do you have 100% workload for IT staff? If not, maybe some other options you can explore. Hire an IT company, they can do the work for you. So wait till you get about 90%, 80% work, so you can hire the right staff. But before that, you want to document all that stuff, so all the workload, so then you can assess that how much work is in front of you. So because that will give you a very good indication that do you have a 100% workload or not, based on your business. So I would say document everything first, and then evaluate, assess how much workload do you have, and then based on that, make a decision. Who do you need to hire, and what role do you need to hire for, and what employment type you wanna proceed with. And the last thing I would say, if you're hiring IT staff, make sure you validate the skill set. This is one of the area that it's very hard to validate. Somebody can say that, listen, I have all those certification, all the skill set, but how do you validate that? You need some sort of process to validate the skill set, so to ensure that these people can perform the job when they come in your business. So just be careful with that. Okay. Anyway, I hope this video helped. If you need more information, by all means, give me a shout. I'm going to include a link below this video to the blog I posted a few weeks ago. Take a look at that. There's a lot of research, a lot of links there to validate some of the information I just walked you through. I think that should give you a different perspective as well. Hope it was helpful. Until next time, have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.